Hi there, welcome to the offices of Valley Prep Tutoring Services in Los Angeles, California. We're here today to talk about test prep, in particular the SAT. Now I know for many students, by the time they get to 9th and 10th grade and they take the PSAT, there's a lot of nervousness that starts to come up, and the parents as well are going, oh my goodness, how do I empower my student? What do I do to get them ready for this test? My gosh, the SAT is the thing that supposedly makes or breaks a college admissions application. So we want to make sure we can empower you to be as prepared as possible. Maybe you live in Los Angeles, but maybe you don't. Maybe you live in a small town in Montana, and all you can do is prepare yourself as best you can without having the kinds of services that larger cities have. Well, here's something for you that's going to help a lot. So what I wanted to do today is take you through what we recommend as a test prep timeline for the SAT. And I'm just going to sort of hold this up so you can see what I'm going to be looking at, and we're going to post this for you at the end of this video so that you can get a screenshot of it in case that's helpful. Basically, the very first thing that you're going to need to do is deal with having a baseline test. Now, a baseline test is an opportunity for you, any tutor with whom you may be working, and a parent, if they're also going to be on board with this, to understand what it is that you already do well, what it is that you need additional remediation on, and to have basically a starting point so you can see sort of the curve of where you're going to end up later. We do recommend a 12-week prep cycle to get ready for the SAT. The way that breaks down is week 1, you're just learning the strategies of the SAT. Know that the SAT does require a 1/4 point penalty every time you miss a problem. Well, in your tutoring sessions or in your time with mom or even working independently, if you know what you need to do to skip sections that you have trouble with, let's say on the critical reading section, you probably do very well on vocabulary and context. Those are the ones that students tend to do a little better on. But let's say inference, you just have a hard time with inference. Well, you wouldn't be the only one. If you know that this is the case, knowing to skip those questions that say, the author seems to imply that, right? Or the author suggests that. There are a lot of ways that inference questions get worded. But to know when to skip, if those are ones that you tend to have problems with, can up your score by over 100 points right off the bat. So session 1 is all about strategies. Sessions 2 through 5 are diagnostic, and this is where we recommend going in and spending some time in each section diagnosing what on that baseline test were the particular aspects that you struggled with most. Maybe you did very well on your algebra, but the geometry turned into a bit of a hot mess, as they say, right? So if you have trouble with triangles and circles and you know that, this gives you and your tutor or your parent the opportunity to focus your prep time on things that are more important. You can almost think of it as a triage, right? Like you're going into the hospital. What do we need to do to keep the patient alive, right? What do we need to do to keep your SAT score alive? So knowing what are those strengths, what are those weaknesses, that's going to make a big difference. So you're going to work diagnostically. You've got your math, your critical reading, the writing section, which is the verbal section where you're doing a lot of grammatical analysis and understanding, the proper way that sentences need to be constructed. And then, of course, the essay. And it cannot be overstated, the importance of the essay. And if you do nothing else, please get yourself to a good tutor to work on your essay skills unless you are naturally flawless, because the essay matters a lot. And colleges more and more are actually looking at the essay itself, not just at the score on the essay. So what you write, how you write it, the way you express the sophistication of your ideas is going to be critical in landing that perfect placement. All right, when you get to session 5, after going through strategies and diagnostics, and part of those diagnostics is getting additional help on how to improve your scores on those geometry problems or those inference problems, you're going to do a second baseline, because we want to see what is the progress over that first 5 to 6 weeks of information that you've been getting. Second baseline happens between weeks 5 and 6, and then you move into remediation. So those last sessions, starting at session 6, going down through session 10 or so, these are individuated remediation sessions. So this is where you really are getting down into the nitty-gritty of improving areas that for you as an individual student need to be improved. We finally get to sessions 11 and 12. This is where we really recommend speed drills, because let's face it, this is a time test, and you've got to be quick. You've got to be able to get in there and get out, and you know, when they say pencils down, they don't mean sit there and think about it, right? So we want to make sure that you are empowered to do the very best you can on your SAT. We're here to help, and I'm sure you've got folks in your community that can help as well, but without doubt, what we want to see is students in the American school system excelling and showing the world what we've got, because we've got some good stuff here. We want you guys to do the best you can. All right, take care. We'll see you next time.